Thanks so much for joining me on WSAZ Plus. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shannon Litton, and it is a First Alert weather day. If you've been following this with us throughout the day, you know that I've been here a few times already on the WSAZ Plus desk. If you're worried about my voice, I promise I'm okay. I sound worse than I actually feel. I'm doing okay. Just drinking a little bit of tea to, keep my voice going. Let's get on to the weather, though. We are already seeing the first flakes of the day in parts of our region. And for that, I want to bring in meteorologist Nicholas Snyder, who's been tracking this storm for more than a week now. Nicholas, you have been joining us on the WSAZ Plus desk throughout the day. What are you seeing now? I mean, we've been tracking this storm even in other states, for that matter, and seeing their weather cameras, and it looked pretty bad earlier today.
Right, now we're tracking the storm in our states finally. We're starting to see those flakes beginning to fly. Let's take a look at the radar picture right now. It doesn't look like much on our Charleston, West Virginia radar, but as we move further to the west, we automatically switch over to our Jackson, Kentucky radar, and that shows quite a different story here. Heavier snow falling back toward London, Kentucky, right about there here on a stretch all the way further to the east toward the Virginia line. Meanwhile, Pikeville getting in on some of that activity. We do have a band of snow also. Wouldn't be surprised if we were seeing some snow falling over toward Grayson, Moorhead, places like that. I actually do have ground truth that there are snowflakes up in the Moorhead area right now. Further to the south, though, Paintsville down the Country Music Highway through Prestonsburg, Pikeville, US 460 all the way into the Virginia line. Still dealing with downsloping and some drier air over much of West Virginia, though. So Huntington, Charleston not quite getting in on that activity yet. Wouldn't be surprised, though, if you were in Logan or Williamson, you were starting to see that snow. And I want to back the radar picture up just a little bit. You'll notice how the donut hole gets smaller and smaller in terms of that. That's snow that is not reaching the ground. It's called virga. It evaporates, or in this case, sublimates before it hits the ground. But this is eventually going to be hitting the ground within the next few hours or so. Remember, we talked about the Huntington, Charleston area, not quite seeing this activity until about 6 p.m., but further to the south and other locations, case in point, here's Pikeville. We're already starting to see a dusting on the roofs, as well as some wetter conditions on the roadway, reduced visibility. So things are deteriorating in Pikeville right now. And further back to the west, Dylan and I were looking at cameras over toward the Louisville area. There's at least 3 or 4 inches of snow on the ground out there. No official reports out of Louisville right now, but as you see, very heavy snow beginning to fall in portions of western Kentucky. We're starting to see a changeover from snow to sleet and freezing rain also in the Nashville area. Meanwhile, we're seeing multiple reports of ice and snow and sleet over into northern Alabama, southern Tennessee. Let's in fact get a look at what we're seeing in the Huntsville, Alabama area. This would be a report of ice accumulation of already, and again, this was taken out about 1 p.m. Eastern time, already 0.2 of an inch of ice. That is almost an ice storm over there. So they're seeing pretty treacherous conditions over there, northern Alabama, South Tennessee right now, and all of this is moving our way as we head later and later on into the night. We have brand new data in, and this is kind of following what I suspected here. We'll show you that in just a second. I first want to talk about, again, the winter storm warning that does remain in effect until Monday morning. But again, I really want to show you this new data. This kind of follows the trend that I was expecting of things to go just a touch back to where they were last night when we had our snow forecast. So again, by 6 p.m., Huntington, Charleston getting in on that snow. It's a widespread heavy snow along the I-64 corridor and in southern Ohio by midnight tonight. Still expecting that change over to sleet and freezing rain if you're down into the coal fields of eastern Kentucky. That's Prestonsburg, Salyerville, Pikeville, southern portions of Johnson County and Martin County, as well as far southern Morgan County, Kentucky. Moving forward into time, very heavy snow, treacherous travel along I-64 from Huntington to Charleston all the way back toward Moorhead. This is not going to be very good travel here. Whiteout conditions are to be expected. Very slick conditions on the roadway. Meanwhile, we're getting an ice storm in much of the coal fields of eastern Kentucky. Salyersville, West Liberty, southern Rowan County, Sandy Hook, Louisa, Fort Gay, even toward Williamson, Logan, Madison, Beckley up towards Summersville. That's a major ice storm with up to ½ inch of ice to be expected over in that area. Let's move this forward now. We start to change over to ice along I-64 around that 9 a.m. time frame. So Lexington all the way to Charleston along I-64 and even up I-79 towards Sutton. A little bit of ice to be expected. Crippling ice still impacting Logan, impacting Williamson, Beckley, Bluefield, all the way into Roanoke and Charlottesville, Virginia, all the way down to the North Carolina line in Virginia. That's a crippling ice storm that's expected. We're starting to change over to a little bit of rain also in the southeastern Kentucky coal fields. So if you're in Salyerville, Prestonsburg, Pikeville, Inez, Paintsville, you'll get a brief period of rain. We'll start to see that rain nose into the Huntington area as well as the Charleston area by noon on Sunday, but quickly we turn you back over to snow, and that will allow things to refreeze once again, and things will die down as we head into Monday morning. Still on track as far as our snow accumulations go. This is a storm total. We could see differing amounts before we see a changeover and after we see a changeover. But as far as a storm total is concerned, 6 to 8 inches for Huntington. I think we see a good maybe 5 inches before we change you over to sleet and freezing rain, and then another 1 to 2 inches on the back end of this storm, leading to those totals of about 6 to 8. 4 to 8 for Charleston. Again, we see about 2 or 3 inches before we change you over to a different precipitation type overnight tonight, and then we change you back over to snow on Sunday night with another couple of inches there. Southern Ohio, remember, remains all snow. So if you're over toward Athens, MacArthur, northwestern Jackson County, Waverly, Piketon, Raritan, Otway, over a foot of snow is to be expected, at least a foot, I should say. Portsmouth up toward Jackson, Racine, Pomeroy, Gallipolis, you're talking 8 to 12 inches with a little bit of sleet trying to mix in there. And in that 3 to 6 inch zone, as well as the far southern part of that 6 to 8 inch zone, this is where you're talking about a major ice storm, up to a ½ inch of ice for Paintsville, for Salyerville, Prestonsburg, Inez, parts of Wayne County, Louisa, Fort Gay, places like that, Williamson up to Logan, up to Madison, and a major ice storm for Beckley, Bluefield, and places like that. That's the latest I have in our data. Again, let's take another look at Pikeville here. This is where things are starting down in the southern coal fields of eastern Kentucky. And conditions
visibility is diminishing there, Nick.
Yes, I was going to say conditions are going to continue to deteriorate down there. And as we go forward into the night, that is what is going to be heading our way in the river cities and in the Charleston area along the I-64 corridor and in southern Ohio as well.
All right, Nick, thanks so much for that update. I know you and Dylan and Tony are already in to the studio now, and I know Emily's going to be joining you guys here around 5 o'clock. I think that's what she told me when she was coming back. So we're fully staffed tonight in terms, especially when it comes to meteorologists to track this storm. Really appreciate your time. I'll let you get back to work. We'll continue our coverage here on WSAZ Plus. And I actually want to bring in a dear friend and coworker. Mr. Tim Ear is joining us today on WSAZ Plus. I think this is, I don't know if I think we've played this role before.
We did.
But we reversed it, and it's when we were practicing, you know, the.
I was learning the WSAZ Now desk. So you basically, you gave me, and there was a sticker on the door that said student driver, and I was learning how to drive, and so I was sitting where you're sitting, in the driver's seat. And you were sitting over on the side, just like supervising me. You were like the driver's ed teacher who has their own hand on the wheel, a second wheel in the car.
They have the brake pedal. I remember that about driver's ed. They, you know, just in case something happens,
so
they have
thank you because now I feel like I've grown up and I can actually drive on my own.
Hey, it's
Mom
great.
and Dad let me have the car. So.
It's great to be able to do this up here with you. But Tim, you know, you have rolled in. A lot of our reporters are rolling in. You know, talk to me a little bit about
Saturday.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about what we can expect tonight for coverage.
So what we can expect is we have a lot of people who will be out in the field. It's not going to be a typical Saturday when we do our coverage because we have actually a lot to talk about. Not that we don't on a typical Saturday. We oftentimes there can be breaking news, but to call in the extra staff that we have, just so we make sure that we have some extra coverage there. We also have people who will be. And there's no doubt about it. I've already talked to a couple of people who are like, I just plan on sleeping here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have not far from here, as a matter of fact, right through that wall, there are some nice, comfy sofas. Might be a little chilly, but, you know, we've got maybe some blankets we can put out. We also have reporters that will be staying nearby. Our boss has made sure to book a bunch of hotel rooms, so reporters don't have to worry about trying to get home.
Yeah, they'll be staying at a hotel tonight too. So.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. How's your voice? It sounds a little better.
It's getting progressively better throughout the day, but I know it still sounds bad. But you know how it is having kids at home, Tim. They always bring everything home. So I'm on this one. I'm blaming Caden and Roe. And whenever I left the house,
Their fault.
yeah, whenever I left the house today, they even got Spencer sick. She was already starting
no.
to sound a little bit raspy, like I am right
She's
now.
starting to get sick now.
Yeah.
See, I'm hoping to avoid it because Janice is sick at home, and I'm like,
And I've
you
actually,
know what?
I usually only get sick once, per winter
Yeah.
season, but this one's more tame. I've already been sick this winter season. This one's more tame. I know it sounds terrible, but
Yeah.
I really feel okay.
Well,
for
that's
the
where
most part.
she is. She's
So,
like here because I said, "Is it in your chest or anything?" She said, "No." She woke up this morning. She said, "Well, it's official. I have a cold." And I was like, "Okay, stay
Yeah.
away from me." And so I went and got her some pho you and me, not but the chicken noodle soup from pho you and me. They put jalapenos in it. They have their special chicken noodle soup, and they say that's really good for you. We've tested that out before when we've had a cold, and I think it does help you breathe more. The vegetables that they put in there.
it's that chicken broth too, in general.
It's just basically you're getting a tub of chicken broth, and so it's a big tub. You can take it home, and then your vegetables are all in a side thing, and so you choose whatever vegetables you want. And if you can do the jalapenos, they'll help clear you out with
Yeah,
that stuff.
they really help with your breathing too. I think.
Yeah, So we'll see. I'm hoping I don't get it, and I hope. I'm in here with you. I've got somebody at home, so there's a chance that I could get it. But,
Yeah, it's been going around the station too. Now, whatever was going around the station, I thankfully didn't catch.
Oh,
so,
that was horrible because
Yeah.
that was a stomach virus.
Yeah, that one was bad.
And I'll take the head cold thing over the stomach virus
Any day.
Any day.
Any day.
So hopefully, a lot of people out there you've gotten all your supplies and things like that, because the real story, and we're hearing our meteorologists tell the story. The real story might actually come next week, and that's when the deep freeze sets in, because we've seen it in communities, especially rural communities, all over the place, where it's hard to get to the roads and treat the roads. Well, you can't. Once the roads freeze up and they're solid, you'll have snow and then ice and then more snow on top. And if your road is not treated, there might not be a thaw coming up here for the next 10 days.
Right.
And so, that's
gonna be
why it's so important to, if you know people who live in a rural area, relatives or friends, especially if they're older, or family members who can't get out and they have small children, check on them. Make sure that they have somebody who they know, maybe who has four-wheel drive and some chains that can get them some food later on this week. It's that kind of situation where we could see that's going to be the story, I think, and just judging by experience of what I've seen in the past, that we may be telling. Hopefully we're not, but I think that may be the story we're telling later this week.
Yeah. Ideally, obviously, we don't want to tell these stories.
No. Oh my God. No.
But it's something that we have to deal with, and
Yeah.
obviously, like
Right.
our crews are out and about. Trying to get to some locations. The roads are still clear right now, besides Pikeville, like Nicholas was showing you earlier. That's where some snow is starting to come in. But on that front end, a lot of people have been going to the source, Tim. Shelves are starting to look empty. And the big thing that even our meteorologists
No
were saying-
water today at
Right.
Walmart. I checked Walmart and Sam's Club.
Really?
Yeah, no water. No water. Of their regular bottled water. Now they had sparkling water. They had those huge, large bottles of Evian
big
and Smart
tubs or
Water,
whatever.
those big giant ones
Yeah.
that are coming in 12-pack. But their regular, like 24 packs of water, all gone. All shelves in South Point at Sam's and Walmart, because I checked both stores just before I came in here.
Yeah.
They're sold out. Are they getting more in? I don't know. I don't know what their supply
It might
is.
be, at this point, it might be next week. And even if they got it in tomorrow, probably not a good idea to head out anyway. So
Right. So people just wanted to prepare ahead of time, and especially if people know that they might have a situation where the water's not available. We're not just talking about in Wayne, which is still a problem. That's the other big story that we're covering right now, is that situation in Wayne. That's a terrible thing people are going through.
And this weather is only making it harder on
gosh,
those folks
yeah.
because they still can't consume that water. I mean, we just reported last week.
Yeah.
I say last week, but yesterday and the couple days before.
Yeah.
How they're finding things in the water that obviously shouldn't be there. So, what are some things that obviously you've dealt with many storms here. I'm sure you've covered a lot of them through your time. Maybe we're off on some of them. Who knows? But what are some things that you do to prepare ahead of that storm, something like this? I mean, you talked about going to check on some grocery stores today. I think you probably did that more to see what people were doing. But when do you start preparing for something like this?
I think I consider myself really lucky that in this case I live literally a mile from work, 1 flat mile. If worse comes to worse, I can walk home. I mean, if I'm like the roads are impassable because they're too slick, and I'm not going to take my front wheel drive car out there and so either I'm going to borrow my wife's 4-wheel drive and do it that way, or I'm going to walk. So I'm very lucky in that situation. The stories that really stand out to me are the way people prepare. So I don't really have to do much in the way of preparation because I can walk that way to Kroger, half a mile. I can go then walk home. I mean, I'm really like one of those guys that's like so close they could literally walk. But the stories the stories of people who prep like they're going to war, those are the ones that have always impressed me, because we have so many people in our viewing area that live in very rural areas, and as you and I were just saying, they live in these areas where it's hard to get to on a regular basis. Maybe they live at a dirt road where there's one little tiny bridge, and so when the bridge goes out, people have to take the creek and go to what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So they have to do all that on the regular, and then all of a sudden, they're hit with some people in our area, our viewing area, will be hit with 12 to 18 inches of snow potentially, and if that happens, and you live in a very rural area, or worse, you live in an area that's not just dealing with the snow, but then the ice. That's a really dangerous thing. So. My preps are nothing compared to what people have to do to prepare, where they have to prepare not just for a few days, like, oh, I'll just get some eggs, bread, milk, like the standard thing.
Right.
But they have to prepare on how to get through 2 or 3 weeks. It's almost like pioneering, like when you think about it. It's like they're homesteading. Like they have to prepare. If you live rurally, you have to prepare for winter weather that could potentially cut you off from the rest of the world for 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly shocked to see just the amount of people. And I mean, I know this is our first major storm of the year.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we had them.
Some
earlier.
people have had some decent snows already.
But
a
this
couple of
was
weeks
like
ago,
a
we
big
saw it in
widespread.
Jackson. But this is all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to see just the pictures of Sam's Club. I mean, you're talking about a warehouse that basically bare. I mean, I went there Thursday and Friday, no milk. I was able to find milk at Food Fair in Ironton. They were still pretty well stocked up. But, you bring up a great point about rural communities. I mean, they have it very tough. I mean, here's actually
And they know what to do.
Yeah, this is a live look there, Tim, at Pikeville right now.
Oh, yeah.
Nicholas showed this earlier. It's, I would say, even in the last 10 minutes where he was on here with us, the conditions have, at least the visibility at the very least, has deteriorated. But you can see that accumulation on some of those rooftops. Looks like the parking lots are looking so. Hopefully some of the streets look okay, but you're already seeing that accumulation on some of those cars as well.
And that's one of those areas that they were talking about, Nick, and the rest of our meteorologists were talking about. Pikeville, it's like a line that stretches from Pikeville into the coal fields and up towards Charleston.
Yeah.
And then there's another line next to it that cuts off, and that includes Huntington, that is not going to have as much in the way of ice that Pikeville and then the line that goes up to Charleston will experience. And some of that line includes places where you wouldn't expect to see some of that, which is, a place like Beckley. You're like, oh, they'll just get hit by tons of snow. No, they might actually be in the line of ice as well. Of course, all of this remains to be seen.
Right.
We can take a good stab at it, but until it actually happens, any meteorologist will tell you that. They'll be like, well, we're going to do our best, but we can only do so much. So you got to prepare. You got to get the snacks. Our bosses prepared us. We're ready to go here at work.
Even some of our interns, I think, I don't want to say they over-prepared, but they brought a lot of snacks that hopefully, thinking of getting them through the next few days. But you can never have enough snacks, in my opinion.
No. I doubled up on the coffee today, so I'm, in my usual thing of trying to get into bed by 10 or 11 o'clock. That's not going to happen because that's the new me.
Yeah.
The old me. I'm back to the
coverage. Special coverage for tonight and tomorrow. Yeah, I forgot. This is your old shift, right?
My old
2:30
shift,
to 11:30. So
I was night shift guy. I figured I was going to be night shift guy for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I was surprised when you went to 9 a.m. I wasn't surprised. I didn't know if you were going to be able to get up that early.
I
if
didn't
I'm being
think so
honest.
either. That's funny you said that because waking up early has never been my thing.
Well, and you've been doing that night shift for what, at least 20 years?
Oh yeah, more than that. Yeah, almost 30 years.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I was doing like I think it was like 96. Yeah, so 30 years.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. So yeah, 30 years, and then well, it was probably less than that because I've been doing this for about a year and a half now. But yeah, it
allows you
gives
to
me a
tell
chance
more
to
stories.
Yes, I love that.
I love your
I
features,
really
so.
missed reporting.
Oh, yeah.
To get out and do that, and so when they asked me about this, I was like, well, wait a minute, what's the catch?
There's always a catch,
What are
right?
you guys gonna do there? Are you taking money from me, or what are you doing? But they were like, no. We just want you to be able to tell your story. So I'm back to night shift tonight. So
Yeah. Tonight and tomorrow night.
yeah,
And then
2 nights only.
And then a quick return on Monday morning. at 9.
Yes, yeah, and then
So-
Monday back to the normal shift Monday. And Monday, who knows? I mean, as we said, next week could
Yeah.
be the story. Next week will be how people are dealing with being trapped in because they literally can't get out because there'll be snow and ice and just sub-zero temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
When we start talking about below zero, pardon me, it's just
Uh-oh. That sounds like you're catching what I have.
yeah, no, it's like it's the little yeah. I need to
We'll give you a second here to catch back up. While you do that, I do want to point out, obviously, people are trying to get out of the cold, and we have people here at work, of course, working on our website. Let me take this the lower third down so you can see the website here as I navigate through it. We just posted this story while we were here on the WSAZ Plus test, Tim. Warming centers open throughout the tri-state. This is a working document. So what I mean by that, this is going to be updated throughout the night, throughout the day, obviously tomorrow as well, but you've got warming shelters. Let's see here. Kentucky warming shelters, Ashland, Grayson, Ohio, Oak Hill, Portsmouth, in West Virginia, Charleston, Huntington, and of course Milton, Ravenswood, Ripley, Salt Rock, Spencer. So lots of places.
extensive.
Yeah, very extensive. And like I said, we just posted this, looks like at 4:11, updated
Okay.
10 minutes ago.
That was Grace who did that. When we were up
Yeah,
there.
Grace,
Good job, Grace.
Yeah, Grace,
Hey,
Grace and Charlie have been working on that one.
okay, Grace
So-
and Charlie. So if you have an update and you have a warming center in your community, and you're in charge of that, and you need to get in touch with us, get in touch with Grace or Charlie.
The
Either one of
WSAZ.
them.
Yeah, give us
They
a call.
should be able to help you out and get it on there. So yeah, we want to try to get as much of that information as we possibly can out there, and that's such a good thing. If you don't have, well, I guess you probably do have the app if you're
Yeah.
paying attention to us right here.
What I was trying to look for here is our number. Here it is. Here it is. Let's
Okay.
put our number up there. 304, obviously area code.
Yeah.
304-690-3069. That's our newsroom. Ask for Grace or Charlie, and we'll be able to get that information on the web because
Yep.
a lot of these, even these warming shelters, I mean, sometimes people start making them at the last minute too. They're like, oh, we're going to need more, so we're going to need to open another location for folks.
And they'll pop up as needed in communities that may lose power. If you have a community center, it may end up at the last minute after power goes out, having to be a warming center. They may have to open the doors, and they may have to, we've even seen the National Guard deployed in situations where they have to come in and help with water and help with cots and places for people to sleep. It's part of what the Guard might have to do. Hopefully we won't have to, but if when in need, that's what happens. So we may be talking about more warming shelters. And the other thing you have to also remember is that there are people who will refuse to go to a warming shelter,
Yes.
especially elderly people. We saw there was a fatality last year. I believe it was Greenup County. There was a fatality last year in a power outage. The person stayed home, and doctors will say that hypothermia is very insidious because you get in there and you're comfy in your bed and you're cold, but still you think you're okay, and before you know it, it leads to, you can become delirious and not even realize
Yeah.
that you are suffering from hypothermia, and then it becomes fatal. And it's like you don't even know what hit you. And so doctors say it's not something that people are even aware of, that they're suffering in some cases. So if you know somebody, especially they're elderly, that's why it's important to get in touch with people. You don't want that happening.
Make sure you're charging your phones today.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
tonight and tomorrow in case we
call.
do have those power outages because
Very
we want to
good
be
call.
able to to get a hold of loved ones.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of these new phones too, Tim, they have a low power mode. That means they're going to be using less of that battery, giving you more time to be able to use it.
That's good.
In case you need to get a hold of somebody. Obviously, another thing that we always deal with whenever it comes to weather, closings. So if you're on the website, the WSAZ website, and you need to find our closings, you would go here to the weather tab, and you go down here to closings. Right now, no closings.
Good.
Don't have anything. But that looks like we
I'm
have an
Petey.
ad.
You might remember
take
me
that
as
off
Petey.
There we go. But that's right now. That will obviously change. And we're not just talking school closings at this point. Wrong camera. There we go. We're not talking just school closings at this point. We're talking church closings too.
Right.
Services being canceled.
Right. Yeah, that's true. You know, it's funny that you say that because I saw Father Morris today.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Where?
At Sam's Club. He didn't see me.
Oh, so you didn't go up
But
to say hi.
I saw him, and I felt like yelling. I felt like asking him, "Hey, Father, how about a little blessing right now? I'm not going to be able to make it to Mass in the morning."
It's funny you say that.
I saw, and then
He's a great guy.
I went into the club,
Into the club.
the Sam's Club. I went in there looking for him to be like, "Hey, I gotta find," but I couldn't find him again because
Was he incognito?
Yes, he was incognito.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I recognized him, and so I was going to ask him. I'm like, probably not going to make it to church. You're gonna, I'm going to need.
Well, and
and a lot of people are in that same situation. They may have every intention. They're like, I go every Sunday, and you're not going to be able to go because there may be too much ice. Now, a lot of that depends on where you live. You
Right.
may be in an area that ends up just with a couple inches of snow, and you're okay.
Funny you mentioned that too, though, because I saw a lot of posts on social media talking about, hey, is Mass still being live streamed? And in our case, the Arlington Catholic community, it is. It's still streamed every Sunday.
Okay.
So, and I know that's kind of something that started during the COVID era.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And a lot of churches did that. So
Yep.
that's another alternative. You can watch a service online.
That's true.
It's not the same. We all know it's not the same as being there in person. But sometimes you got to think of the safety factor of it. You don't want to put yourself at risk, especially
just not-
if you might be a person who's a little bit older who is more prone to maybe falling or really hurting themselves on slipping on ice or whatever. It's
Yeah, it can be dangerous out there on the ice.
It can.
And it's
No.
really interesting because not to tell you too much about personal life, but my wife unfortunately went down on the ice recently and broke her wrist badly, surgery required and everything. And I look at that and I'm like, it happened to me 30 years ago on ice, and it was an ankle thing, and so. That's both of us now that have fallen victim to thinking, oh, we're fine, we can handle this. We do, we walk on snow and ice all the time.
And
One little slip.
didn't you say? I think you told me this. Didn't you say that the doctors asked if she was running?
Yeah, that's how bad the break was. He was like, you had to be running. You went down really hard. And I was like, well, she walks so fast, it's like running. But but that's how bad the break was. It looked like her arm looked like something out of Dr. Seuss. It was bad. And so it can happen just like that. And so you may think like, oh, that's that's for old people. That's it happened to me when I was 20, 28, 29 years old. So it can happen, and all it takes is one split second. And so be careful out there. Don't take unnecessary chances, especially on the ice. The snow is one thing. I think anybody,
You got some good boots, some good traction.
yeah, you're
to go,
fine in the snow. You're good. But the ice, you can have, unless you have spiked,
boots,
yeah, and they make them. Because as a matter of fact, I guess what's coming to the house now.
a pair of
for
boots.
My wife,
new
she
pair
was
of
like,
boots.
that's not happening to me again. I'm getting a pair of those boots.
Good,
So-
probably good investment.
Yeah.
Probably cheaper than whatever that hospital bill is going to be.
Oh, you know what? It's funny that you said that because that's exactly what she said. I'm not going to fall again. She said because it's way cheaper to get a pair of boots than it is to have to pay the hospital bill. So it's just be very careful outside, and don't think that you're immune, that it can't happen to you, because it can happen to any of us. Hospitals and emergency rooms fill up after a storm because of people falling down, and it's not just a car accident kind of thing. It's just a lot of people slip right outside their house.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
I mean, I think you said she slipped at the park. That's pretty close to home. You don't have to be
quarter
very
mile
far.
from our house. Boom.
Yeah.
So it can happen so quickly. So yeah, take it easy. Be careful out there. If you don't have access to, if you didn't buy salt in your sidewalk, you don't have, somebody to clear your sidewalk for you, all that kind of stuff, hunker down and don't
Watch the
take
snow from the
chance.
inside.
Yeah, it's just not worth, like you pointed out, it's just not worth taking the chance to do that. If you're a church-going person and you're worried about missing church tomorrow, I think your pastor will tell you God will understand if you just
that's
wanna
kind
watch
of,
it from home.
I wouldn't call myself a spokesperson for God, but I think like you said, God would understand.
I think you can watch it online tomorrow. You can watch your church
and that
service
it's
online.
it's about the effort, right?
Yeah,
It's the
right.
effort that counts, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. So don't take chances. Don't do anything that Shannon wouldn't do.
I like that. Let's leave people here with one last live look over at Pikeville. And even here, Tim, looks like things are beginning to look a little bit worse than what we just showed here about 5 minutes ago. The visibility, at the very least, it looks like that snow's starting to accumulate on that parking lot, though.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It is. And you know what?
Everywhere you go.
I hate that we took are taking our decorations down, but it's, can't have them up anymore. But anyway, live look at Pikeville there as you're seeing. Tim, I know you've got to start getting ready for the newscast, and we will have full coverage on WSAZ. We will be, at this point, we are planning, I believe, to be on for the full hour. So
Yes,
no
7.
nightly news tonight. So we will be
nightly
on
news.
from 6 until 7. And then we will have more coverage here on WSAZ Plus at 7, 8, 9, what have you. And then, of
What are
course,
you doing
10,
for
11.
your voice?
I am taking medicine. I've got some Mucinex. I've got
Okay.
some, and I'm going to be drinking tea.
You're drinking tea. Okay, good. Yeah, for your voice, you need to
Drinking warm water.
tea.
Trying to keep it,
Okay.
but
You're here later than you normally are. Dorothy.
that too.
Okay.
But I came in later than I usually do too.
Oh, good.
So,
Okay.
I was here at 10 this
Well,
morning.
we're happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here. So, but just make sure you have our app. We have the very latest stuff on WSAZ.com and the WSAZ app. We will see you here again later on, and don't forget to join us at 6 o'clock for a very special edition of WSAZ at 6. Stay safe out there.